Welcome to Sharing Life, Changing Lives, a podcast brought to you by the Henderson Church of Christ in Henderson, Tennessee. On this podcast, we explore stories of faith, hope, and love, real-life examples of how God works through his people to make a difference. Join us each week as we share conversations that inspire, encourage, and remind us all of the power of a Christ-centered life.
Hello and welcome to Sharing Life, Changing Lives, a program brought to you by the Henderson Church of Christ in Henderson, Tennessee. My name's Robert Hatfield, and we're always joined, and we are once again, by our family minister, Bill Wade. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm good. Robert, how are you? Beautiful day.
Yeah, it's really great. We're talking today about lessons from heart surgery. I've never had heart surgery. Have you?
I have not.
Okay, so we're going to need some experts in the room to do that, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us who we have with us here?
So we have Greg Hollamon and his wife, Dawn Hollamon. And I just kind of want to share just a little bit. Robert, I don't think I've even told you this. When I first met the Hollamons, they were caretakers at West Kentucky Youth Camp. Mm-hmm. Now, Shay, my wife, grew up going to that camp, and when we got married, I started going because, you know, happy wife, happy life. So I kept going with her. Yeah. And when the Hollamons came, I didn't know who they were. I knew that we were going to have new caretakers. And so my first interaction with Miss Dawn, one of the jobs that I had at camp to make me happy was to wash dishes after every meal. And sometimes, I don't know how it happened, but I sprayed the campers, with water if they stood in my window too long.
Okay. All right.
Well, Miss Dawn got in the line of fire, and I squirted her. And the director came up to me later and said, "What are you doing? Do you not know who that is?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know that I care who it is."
She's in the way.
And he said, "Well, she's the new caretaker." And I said, "Well, if she's going to be around my window, she's going to get sprayed." So that was my first interaction with Miss Dawn. Now, with Mr. Greg, before he got there, the caretaker did not mind if I mowed the grass. I needed some away time. And so I would get out there and mow the grass. I didn't realize that I was taking his happy place.
You were taking his away time.
So
that's right, man.
That's
so
right.
The first time that I remember seeing him, he was giving me a look. And this podcast is sharing life, changing lives. He wasn't about sharing life with me that day on a lawnmower. He was thinking of ways how to change my life.
Okay, his nonverbal changed your life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
but these are tremendous people.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that they're my friends and your friends, and that they're a part of this church.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Greg serves as one of our deacons, too.
He does.
Yeah.
So what brought y'all to Henderson from Kentucky?
Well, we knew a lot about Freed-Hardeman University. We would come down some for the lectureship when we could, and also we'd go to making music with our kids, and then both our kids decided to come to Freed-Hardeman. When we started to work at the camp, I enjoyed the work, but I knew that it wasn't something I could continue to do long term. And we were considering where we would retire. University towns are great places to retire. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that there was an opening in math. It was actually math tutoring, but then they decided that they wanted me to teach classes full time. And so I asked my son, who was currently here, would it be okay if your dad would show up and teach at Freed? And he said it was okay. And so we made the move here. As far as deciding on what congregation, there's several good congregations in this county, so that's a fortunate thing. But we visit them all. Very, very friendly people here. Of course, some of them already knew who I was because of interviewing with the university, and we came from a very small congregation, so it was a little intimidating at first to have so many people in a congregation. But we decided that I just told Dawn she was already involved. Some of the ladies had invited her to exercise class and Soul Sisters, and so she was already involved here. And I said, we're just going to pick a place and make the best we can of it. And the people were very receptive to us, very friendly to us. Mm-hmm. There were lots of opportunities here to get involved, and so we felt like it was the best place for us.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about, this is a little off script now, Bill. I'm sorry. This is my role. I derail Bill's script. So Sisters, you mentioned two things. Exercise class. I think I know what goes on there.
Right.
Okay, they're exercising. It's just ladies getting together, right, and to just move a little bit, move the muscles and stuff like that. But So Sisters, what are you all involved with So Sisters?
Well, we have several projects that we spend 3 hours the first Tuesday of the month, and we make blankets to give to people that are having health crises, and we have teddy bears that we've made for years that...
Why are you laughing about the teddy bears?
I won't get Bill into this problem again, but...
They're punching each other. If you're listening and not watching, they're punching each other under the table here.
There are many teddy bears throughout this town.
Yes.
We give them to several places that they give out to children for different reasons.
It's just amazing seeing all of you ladies come in, and a lot of you are carting in, you have sewing machines that you're carrying in by the handles, and you set up in the fellowship hall, and y'all just get after it. It's great. Thank you for what y'all do.
We have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, that's really
And
great.
that's coming up this week too, right?
Yes.
Hey,
Tuesday.
all right. That's cool. Well, tell us how, you mentioned the congregation here has been a blessing. You guys are involved in so many things. Our Wings listeners will especially be mindful of your game show hosting abilities.
Well, I enjoy doing that. As a kid, I actually played game show host.
Really?
Yeah, and made up my own little game shows. And
you're still doing that?
Yeah, I'm still doing that. And,
great.
When I was teaching in Crittenden County High School, I would do a roast at the end of the year for retiring teachers and the principals.
Wow.
So, yeah, I enjoyed that. So
I bet you did. Wow, that is really cool. You all are a blessing to this congregation. I hope you know that, and I wish we could communicate that adequately. But anyway, we appreciate
we feel
you.
very blessed to be here.
Y'all
works
are,
both ways. So
y'all are some of those people. Anytime there's a thing going on, you're usually there. So we pretty much count on you to do that stuff. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. We enjoy it.
Yeah, well, and you can tell because you always have a smile on, and you whether you're in the kitchen washing dishes or doing anything else, you're always involved with stuff.
Taking the trash out.
The trash out. That's right. Yeah, that's
somebody
your job.
has to do that.
Okay.
So the reason we're doing this podcast today with the Hollamons is Greg has just come off of a significant surgery on his heart, and so we thought that there's probably bound to be somebody that's going to watch this podcast that can relate and may need some encouragement from a physical standpoint, but most definitely from a spiritual perspective on how the church can encourage and build you up. And so, Greg, for you, when did you start noticing that you had a health issue?
Well, I'd had problems for a couple of years and didn't realize what it was. Thought that my running was I was just getting old, and but I thought it might have been a lung problem because I'd feel burning in my right lung when I'd run and have to stop. Finally, I go to the doctor, and he thought, well, we might need to rule out the heart first, given your background. Both my parents had open heart surgery in the late 50s, early 60s. And so he felt like it was enough of a trait to look at it. And so I went to have a stress test, and I thought I did pretty good. It was probably the best run I'd had in a couple of years. But they said I failed it. And then they wanted to do a heart cath was the next step. And initially, my cardiologist at Jackson, when they did the heart cath, they found 100% blockage in, but my heart had built corollaries around it. And he felt like there wasn't any damage to my heart, that he thought I was getting enough blood to all the areas of the heart. So he okayed me to go back to the run walk I was doing, and thought I would be okay. But I continued, even with medication, I continued to have problems. So he sent me to his mentor in Nashville, and that's where the cardiologist there looked at the pictures from the summer, and he said before he even did the heart cath there, that he thought he saw other problems, that if I didn't fix it when I was young, he's going to be right back in a couple of years. And when I woke up from the heart cath and they hadn't gone in and put in the stent, I knew that it was the worst case scenario. And then the surgeon came in and they talked about doing 4 bypasses, that he saw other problems. And I guess probably his advice is to not put it off. And also initially, I didn't let a lot of people know with the first heart cath. Of course, I didn't know what was going on. And, in some ways, you want to be private, but in other ways, you need to be relying upon your church family more. And when I was going into the open heart surgery, I let a lot more people know. Of course, the congregation knew, and of course they immediately, the prayers and cards, and really, I felt very comforted by that. I was a little disturbed when they first told me I needed to bypass surgery, because I was thinking of my dad. And my mom went through it okay, but my dad really suffered from problems coming back from it mentally. He was depressed. But the one thing he didn't have going for him was he didn't really have a strong church family to rely upon. And I knew that going into a surgery like this, you need the best attitude you can have. And the fact that so many people were praying for me, and it gave me a peace that's really hard to describe. I was very at ease and relaxed in going into the surgery. I had the frame of mind that no matter what happened, I was going to be okay either way.
Wow.
And I felt okay after. And I think a lot of that had to do with knowing that so many people were reaching out to God, and that He was with me. And it's continued through the recovery of keeping the best attitude I could, and that people rely upon God and rely upon God's people. And the support that we received was so important.
Can we talk just a minute? This is great, and I have a lot of questions, but let me back up a minute. You run a lot, and have for
a
little while, right? I mean,
right.
How long have you been running, and how many miles a day on average?
I started running in college to supplement my weightlifting, and then it became more running with weightlifting. And it's not anything that I'm not built for running. I'm very short, and so I'm going to have anybody that runs knows that I have to take twice as many steps as they do to cover the same distance.
By the way, if you're ever driving around town in Henderson early in the morning, and you see this guy, he's just walking around or running, either one, it's probably you.
Yeah, probably me. So
I'm envisioning Fred Flintstone legs underneath his car.
But now I would do at the height where I was really running, and when I was teaching back in Kentucky, I would do 6 miles and
every day,
5 or 6 days a week.
Wow.
And now it's more like 4 that I'm doing a run walk. I'm back to jogging about half of it.
Okay. Wow.
So I'll jog a while, walk a while. And it's not like it was before. Before they did the surgery, I would run, feel a burning in my lungs, and stop. Now I think it's more of either I'm in the habit of running that way, and my stamina's not back yet.
Mm-hmm. Is it common? Hey, listen, this isn't a medical show. We're not offering medical advice. Nobody's a doctor here, but I don't often associate lung burning. I mean, to your point, you thought there was something else going on.
I thought maybe it seemed to get worse after I had COVID. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe something happened to my lung.
Yeah, you think it's a respiratory thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And but I should have known. I should have known with my parents' background.
Oh,
and
okay.
probably should have aggressively treated cholesterol earlier. I just thought that, I'll run and try to take care of myself. I thought I'd be okay. But genetics plays a big part in it, too. So you can't overlook that background.
Family history.
Right.
Oh, boy.
And so if you've got problems like that in your family, you probably need to be checked out early.
Yeah.
And more aggressively treat the symptoms that could lead to problems. So,
yeah. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Well, and you probably had the one thing going for you against you, which is the male ego.
Right. Well, you know how it is with men going to the doctor.
Absolutely.
They're going to put it off.
Ms. Dawn, do you have words to say about men going to the doctor?
He did say I probably should have been taking some kind of cholesterol medicine.
Yeah, we heard it all. We all heard it here. Yeah.
One of the things that, and Robert and I never, even after it happened, I don't know that we said very much about it, but one of the takeaways that I had personally, before you went in for what you thought was going to be that stent and ultimately turned into the surgery, you stopped by here to see me and to see Robert, and you wanted to talk and you wanted to pray. And my takeaway from that was how solid of a man you are in your faith. I felt the peace that you were finding there, and so I just kind of stayed silent after you left for a little while, which is abnormal for me. But I was just like, wow, that's a new experience, because we go and we visit people in the hospital and in their homes and from time to time, but I can't recall the last time anyone other than you has come in and said, I want to talk before I do this. I've got a few things that I want to make sure, and I want to pray, and I personally I was amazed at you that day. And so
Different than the guy on the mower.
Absolutely.
Giving you eyes on the mower.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
He was totally wanting to share life and change life.
You talked about that peace, though. I mean, you're going under the knife. I mean, this 4 bypasses and all of that stuff. How do you? I mean, I know how we explain it. I just want to hear in your words, because I'm thinking about like Philippians 4, 6, and 7, right? The peace that passes understanding. Was it knowing that your church family was praying for you? Was it knowing that God's in control? I mean, what was it that you think really gave you that peace?
Well, I think it's a combination of both of those, of knowing that people are going to God on your behalf.
Yeah.
And so many people, but also being at peace with God. That if something was to go wrong, I went into the surgery now that probably not what my family was thinking at the time, that I was okay at peace with whatever happened, but I knew that things can happen. My surgeon was well respected, and the other nurses and doctors said that that's who they want to have. But I knew that if something went wrong, I was okay. Yeah. I'd be in God's hands, and that would be okay. And so it's hard to describe the calm that I felt going in and through the recovery. When you wake up, you have a lot of tubes and stuff in you, but it just didn't distress me like I thought it would. So I was working as hard as I could to, one, have a good attitude about it, and then 2, to get out of there as soon as possible. So I was going to do whatever I could do to walk and whatever to get home. So,
And you weren't alone.
Yeah.
While you were there.
No.
Obviously family was with you, but you had some friends from here that went.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know if that would be a benefit for you or an annoyance or what. I was trying to think. I was thinking of it from my point of view, and you know, I'm when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't want anybody
right.
around. So.
Well, because you're in intensive care, they can't be in there a lot.
Right.
So that wasn't a problem. I guess the most annoying thing I had was the clock in my room was stuck at 2:00.
Right. Stuck at 2:00?
Yes, the whole time in intensive care. So I didn't know what time it was. And Dawn came in with my daughter and son-in-law to see me. And I said, well, what time is it? And he looked at his watch. He said 2:00.
Oh,
no. I even told Dawn, I said, if you can get that clock off the wall, can you put some batteries in it or something?
Isn't that something?
It just wasn't running.
It wouldn't come off.
It would.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You tried. Okay. Yeah.
Because we told him, that wasn't very.
So I never knew what time it was. And,
bothersome.
when you're in the hospital, and you don't know what time it is, I don't know if it's 6:00 in the morning or 2:00 in the morning.
It all just runs together. Well,
but Richard had AI, I guess, write this poem about it's 2:00, and it went on and on and on, and he even inserted information about little things that had happened.
You're telling me the Richard we know used AI?
Yeah,
that's another. We'll have to talk about that off the air.
Some sort of
yeah.
help.
Wow. Okay.
Either that, or he's a very talented poet that we haven't discovered
well,
yet.
You never know. He could
I
be.
wouldn't say that.
Ms. Dawn, for every person who's going under the knife, there is usually someone close to them who's waiting nearby in the waiting room. Did you have the same kind of peace? I mean,
I think him having that feeling helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, having friends there really helped.
Right.
And our children were there, so that helped me greatly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Y'all have been married how long?
30.
Whoa, pop quiz.
Years. 37.
37 years. Wow. Well, thank you for your example for that.
I know that's right.
What a tribute, in our current culture.
That's right. What she's had to put up with,
Well, people
too,
are.
sometimes.
I mean, y'all.
She's going to save this episode.
No.
She's going to live.
Y'all know this. People give up, so easily, and some unfortunately look for any reason to quit. But I'm just thankful for that, for your commitment to each other and having a God-centered marriage.
Well, I think you have to go into a marriage with that in mind, that it is permanent and that divorce is not an option. I grew up, my mom and dad got a divorce. It didn't happen early. It happened when I was graduating from high school. But at any age, divorce for the kids, even if they're adults, is difficult.
Yeah.
And I think you got to go in with frame of mind that that's not even on the table, and you have to stick with it. There's always going to be difficult times in any marriage, but if you go in with the attitude that anytime it's difficult, you're going to give up, that's going to be a problem.
Right. So post-surgery, how did this church family at Henderson provide you with the support through your recovery and now back into you're more into daily life routine now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So how did the church play a part in that for you?
Well, when we
Well, I'll start with
yeah.
the poet was when we got home, the poet was in our yard mulching leaves.
Yes, and it was meticulous. You know, he was
of course
mowing and mulching and
much
mowing
like his
it
poetry,
again, right?
meticulous.
And and so that was very encouraging because it could have been left alone. And you know, I told him not to worry about it, but it was good that he did it. So, and that
if I would have thought better of it, I could have gone up there and got that mower from Kentucky and been mowing your grass when you showed up, and I could have stuck my tongue out at you.
Yeah,
full circle moment. That would have been great.
Missed it.
And we received a lot of cards even before the surgery, but continuing afterwards. And that does, you know, the card ministry here that several of the classes do is such a big part of helping people get through difficult times. And of course, we had several people bring food, and that's another ministry here, this congregation, that's really important. And just there was just a lot of support and caring and checking on us and making sure that we were okay and making it. I mean, the first night home was a little difficult for us. That was the hardest day we had because we waited for me to go to bed until I was too tired and figuring out how to sleep because we didn't have a hospital bed and a regular bed just wasn't working. So ended up sleeping in the recliner. But after that day, we figured that out, and everything from there was some continuous improvement every day. So,
and now you're back to, you know, lifting heavy trash out of trash cans.
Well, there's a limit to that, and I haven't been cleared for some of the stuff. So if this is out to my rehab people, I hope they don't hear this.
Wow.
But,
Okay. You're going to be in trouble.
They don't even know I'm jogging yet. But
well, no, this was out of a kitchen.
Yeah, it
kitchen
wasn't
garbage.
Just
That's
the
right.
small stuff.
That's
Small
right.
stuff.
It wasn't anything. I don't think that broke my weight limit, but I have broken it a few times. So.
Banana peels and napkins.
Like we said, this is not medical advice.
Yes, that's right.
That's
not medical
right.
advice.
That's right. But I'm back mostly. I'm not going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting I did before. But I'm pretty close to where I was before. I'm hoping that the running will get better now that I don't have to worry so much about the problem. That's still in the back of my head when I run. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we sure do appreciate you all being a part of our episode today, and our time always flies by. I've got more things I'd like to know, but we'll just have to talk about that some other time. Please come and visit us anytime at the Henderson Church of Christ, and you can meet great people like Dawn and Greg Hollamon and so many others who are a part of this wonderful church family. We'd love for you to be a part of it as well. Bill, appreciate it today. Thank you.
This was good. These are good, so good people.
Yep, really good. Even if they don't want you to cut grass for them. So that's okay. That's fine. That's going to do it for this episode of Sharing Life, Changing Lives. Hope you'll join us next week. Visit us online at hendersoncoc.com. Until then, may God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Sharing Life, Changing Lives, a podcast from the Henderson Church of Christ in Henderson, Tennessee. We hope you've been encouraged by today's conversation and inspired to live a life of faith in Christ. You and your family are always welcomed with us at the Henderson Church of Christ. Join us on Sundays at 9 a.m. for Bible classes. We have classes that everyone in the family will enjoy. We meet for worship at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Sundays. Our midweek Bible study takes place each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. We'd love to see you anytime. Be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with others who might be blessed by it. To learn more about the Henderson Church of Christ, visit us online at hendersoncoc.com. Until next time, let's keep sharing life and changing lives for His glory.